I'd like to call this special meeting of the Municipal Council to order at 6:15. Please rise and join me for a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, would you please read the notice of special meeting, please?
Certainly. October 9th, 2025, to the members of the Municipal Council from James J. Delisio, Council President. Councilors, by authority of Article 2, Section 2-7C of the Attleboro Home Rule Charter, I hereby call a special meeting of the Municipal Council as follows. The date is October 14th, 2025. Time is to be to 6:15 p.m. Place is Council Chambers, City Hall, 77 Park Street. The purpose, executive session pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 30A, Sections 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to litigation entitled Kerr v. City of Attleboro, United States District Court, CA number 125CV 12926, NMG. Sincerely, James J. Delisio, President.
Thank you. I'd entertain a motion to recess to go into executive session.
Second.
Thank you. This will be a roll call vote beginning with Council Cobus.
Mr. Cobus?
Yes.
Ms. Foa?
Yes.
Mr. Lavoy?
Yes.
Ms. Reynolds?
Yes.
Vice President Dolan?
Yes.
Ms. Holmes?
Yes.
Mr. Angelo?
Yes.
Ms. Sawyer?
Yes.
Mr. Waterman?
Yes.
Mr. Tavares?
Yes.
President Delisio?
Yes.
11 yeas, 0 nays.
Thank you. We are in recess, and I would like to invite all councilors, Mayor DeSimone, city attorneys, and Bill McDonough to the executive session. Thank you. Council back to order at 7:24. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned at 7:25. We'll now go into committee.
Thank you. I'd like to call the Finance Committee to order at 7:25. And we'll go in reverse order today. And because we have a guest. And so the first item from the docket of October 7th, 2025, I entertain a motion to adopt a dual system of classification of real estate taxation in accordance with appropriate general laws of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. Motion is in order. All right, so for the tax shift, as always, there are two votes. The first one is to approve the dual classification, and the second one, provided that first one is approved, is to actually set the tax shift factor. So this is the first of those two votes, and I've invited Julie to join us and answer any questions that people may have had based on the presentation from last week. Welcome, Julie, and I'd like to open it up if people have questions about the tax shift. So, welcome, Julie.
Thank you. Good evening.
My thought in reviewing this, in sort of doing a deep dive, the biggest thing that my takeaway from this year was, first of all, 87, when looking at the fair tax value, the assessed value of everything, residential basically makes up 87% of everything. So there isn't much left to shift.
Correct, yeah, based on full fair cash value,
Yes.
right? The percentage is 87% residential, yeah.
So there wasn't a lot to do. The levy increased by roughly 4%. And so, according to the tax policy that we've had before, in theory, everyone's tax rate should increase by roughly 4%, which would push us towards a tax shift of 142, which I think would be too drastic of a shift. So, but we can, I don't want to talk about the actual shift numbers today. But one of the things that I took away was, with the shrinking overall commercial and industrial base, I think this tax shift discussion becomes less and less important. And what's more and more important is for us to have more policies that favor commercial and increase
Right,
our
to
commercial
increase
base
that
more.
base, right, yeah.
Because otherwise, the tax burden on our residents, it becomes more and more of a problem. And things like the tie, things like the what was it? The billboard that we were talking about that would have drawn in business and encouraged business in the city. All of these things that are pro-business in the city, and try to grow the commercial and industrial tax base, are far more important than this discussion itself, in my opinion.
100%, yeah. I agree,
So-
because that natural shift is gonna keep going, will keep going to the residential. If the residential class keeps growing more than the commercial industrial, and think about it, you know, if you rehab an industrial building into residences, well, now you've decreased the industrial and increased the residential, so it's, you know, it's twofold, right? You're getting a double whammy, basically. So, yeah, I agree. That base needs to grow on its own before, you know, you can keep shifting to it.
And so one of the things that I'd like to do is introduce new business, and I'll introduce new business to revisit the tax shift policy discussion that we've had in place, and I think has done a really good job at stabilizing sort of the year-over-year sways. And correct me if I'm wrong, but this year we saw, was it an 8% increase in the assessed value of the average rate, roughly 8%?
Roughly.
So there was a huge shift in the assessed value of home values. And so like, even if we kept the rate the same, the actual tax rate would go down. The 14.4, whatever the actual number is per dollar of assessed value, would actually go down this year because the average home value has gone up significantly.
Right.
But what I'd like to do is introduce new business to reassess the tax shift policy and think about if that policy that we've had in place for a long time still makes sense with the shrinking commercial and industrial base. I don't want to change the policy now and abruptly sort of make changes while in the middle of trying to set the tax shift right now. I think that's a longer discussion for us to have, but I will introduce new business for us to review that with you and the Board of Assessors.
Sure.
Other questions? Vice President Dolan.
I have a statement, is that okay?
Sure.
I agree with Council Cobus as far as increasing our commercial base, tax base. I mean, that's critical, obviously. So actually, I do have a question. When are we doing the reassessments, the home values?
So there's a
What's the
full
date?
certification in 2027. So next year, we'll be doing a full certification,
Okay.
which is a deeper dive into everything, into the land values, commercial and industrial. We'll review all of the income and expense. So it's a much deeper dive into everything.
In residential?
And residential.
Okay. And I know I've said this 1,000 times, and I can't help myself, but I'm gonna say it anyway. You know, what bothers me about this, and I know we have a small commercial industrial tax base, and a large residential base, but it bothers me that the numbers from the depreciated personal property goes over to the residential side. So I feel like we can't, it bothers me in the sense that we can't farm that out. We can't, it just goes in the residential side and we assume it's all residential when it's really not.
So it spreads throughout all of the classes, but because the residential is 87%, picking up the 87%, it mainly falls onto the residential. So any depreciated values and any loss of value in the personal property class gets picked up through all the classes. Yeah, but again, like I said, it shifts mainly to the residential because of that full fair cash value percentage that residential
Because
has.
of the size of the residential.
Because of the size of the class.
So if Starbucks has a $100,000 oven, I mean, I'm not saying, I'm just throwing something out there, it's not gonna depreciate to $1,000. It's never gonna be $1,000.
Right.
So we don't know how many years, what, it's 5 years that it goes to the max depreciation?
It depends on what type of equipment it is, but say from anywhere from 10 to 15 years.
And once something's in the levy, it's there forever. It doesn't go
Correct.
away. So Starbucks buys $500,000 worth of equipment, it depreciates, it comes over the residential side, Starbucks closes, that money's still there. It's
Right.
still in the levy, it's still on the residential side.
Correct.
So I do realize that I say this every year, and I know it's redundant, and I can't help myself, because it seems, I don't want to say the words unfair, but it's, you know, a little loophole with the 2.5% to get around, not you, of course, but, yeah.
Right,
that's
yeah, it's the way the new growth works, right? Because it comes on as new growth, so that gets added to the levy, and it gets picked up by everybody, even if it drops off, yeah.
Almost everybody.
Almost everybody.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Todd. I'm Council Cobus.
Of course. Are there other questions or comments?
Thank you, Chair
Councilor Wood.
Kovas. Probably a really tough one to answer, but are you familiar with any point that maybe there was a drastic shift to the commercial side, where, delivery charges from, say, National Grid and Eversource increased because of that? I know that's very hard to answer, but I just, in terms of thinking about, other things that would affect homeowners would be if the top two taxpayers got a lot more to pay in taxes. I would assume as everything, it trickles down to the homeowner.
Right, they would increase their charges. I can't answer that off the top of my head, I'm not sure. I could look into it for you and get back to
Yeah, if you
you.
could, that'd be great. And I'm not expecting any concrete answer. I know that's very tough.
No, but
I
I'll
think
see if I can
most-
see any trend.
Yeah, and most people would probably assume that it would happen. It's typically how bigger businesses operate, right? But if there's something on paper or that we can look at and see a trend, that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Counselor Angelo?
To Councilor Lavoie's point, wouldn't that be kind of like part of the mass save program that has caused some of these rates to go up because they're doing these discounts and other things, alleged discounts? And I'm thinking that sometimes these rates are going up because of that mass save program, and this is a Massachusetts state thing, not a city issue. I could be wrong, but that's the way I've interpreted it over the years.
That could be too. They're not gonna lose money. So.
Anything else for Julie?
Nice job.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Great job
Thanks,
last
Julie.
week.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Julie.
Thanks.
Excellent. All right, so this first vote is just to adopt the dual classification system. So all those in favor? Aye. Motion passes. Next item, from the docket of October 7th, 2025, I entertain a motion to adopt a classification factor of 1.42 for fiscal year 2026.
Second.
Motion is in order. 1.42 would be in line with what the policy says. I'd rather not get into a back and forth discussion tonight on where to go with that. I think we can have that discussion next week, and we can sort of bring all of our arguments. This is just to vote it out of committee. Does that make sense? Councilor Foley?
I think now would be a very good time to start discussing it. Maybe because I feel I want people to consider what I feel is a pressing issue. So I would like to raise as an issue in our consideration of the classification factor, what we can expect residents to have to pay in increased health insurance costs going forward. I know the city will have to also budget for increased health insurance rates. But to simply match the increase in new value or whatever it is with the classification factor seems to me not a subtle enough consideration of the real finances that people are going to be facing.
Thank you. I recognize that, but also with that said, I don't know that everyone is prepared to sort of have that back and forth discussion tonight. And so I appreciate the comment for everyone to sort of consider, and we'll bear that in mind for the discussion for next week. Counselor Sawyer.
I just had a question about the 1.42 that you were bringing out as a number. And now with the split, can you tell us what the 1.42 means compared, for the residents compared to the businesses, just so that we know what that number means?
Sure. That split means that for residents, their tax bill will increase by $258. Sorry,
55.
sorry, 255, yeah,
Average,
sorry.
4.22%.
$255, 4.22%. And for commercial, it will increase by $1,362 or 6.54%. So it's a 6.5% increase for commercial and a 4.2% increase for residents. And so this aligns with with a 3.9% increase. So the levy increased by 3.96%, all right, overall. And so based on the policy would have us go all the way up to, if you look, it would have us go to 1.44. If we wanted to match that, we would go all the way up to 1.44, which in my opinion would be too much of a sway in that direction, and that would be too much of a burden on commercial if we went way too far in that direction. So in what we've done in years past, when the policy is said to take too much of a sway in one direction or the other, is we temper that and we're a little bit conservative and we moderate that back a little bit. And so this just follows that policy in the same way we've done in years past, and we just back that off a little bit. And so it's the same thing we've done in the past. Councilor Fuller. Does that make sense? Sorry,
Thank you.
does that make
No,
sense?
it does.
Okay, Councilor Fuller?
When you say the policy, what do you mean? Is that the policy that was adopted?
I will send you I will send you this document, and there's a policy that was enacted in Mayor Dumas's when he was mayor, that basically says the percentage that the levy increases by, the average homeowner's tax bill should increase by that same amount. So if you think of the levy as the city's tax bill, if it's increasing by 4%, the average homeowner's tax bill should increase by 4%. And it's I know it's incredibly simplistic, but it's an easy way to think about that. And so we focus on the homeowners and focus on stability for the homeowners to say, okay, like the levy's increasing by 4%, your homeowner's tax bill should increase by 4%. And we adjust the shift to sort of align that. And as a result, we cause some instability on the commercial side. Admittedly, on the commercial side, it causes a fair amount of instability. But on the homeowner side, things are relatively stable. And I did a comparison of a lot of surrounding communities a couple years ago, and they've had wild swings where the tax bills for homeowners increased by 12% on some years, and then 2% on other years, and then 12% on the next year, and like had wild swings where year over year, death of taxes. Like taxes are always going to increase. It's tough, but like at least it's a stable amount year over year here in Attleboro, and that's what this policy has done for us. Councilor Tavares?
So maybe you can help me with this. I'm going to try to state it another way to see if, and you let me know if you think this is accurate. But using 1.42 as the shift figure, and seeing the increase in the tax bill for the average resident is not a function of an increased tax rate, but is just a function of the levy increasing, which really just means, well, the value of your real estate went up by X amount, right? And correct. So it's pro rata in terms of that increase. So the actual tax rate, so I'm looking at that rate, is under 1.42 is 12.2. the tax rate, which is lower than the current tax rate,
Ex-
right? It's a lower tax
exactly.
rate.
Yeah, exactly. Yes.
So I think it's
bill
important to
increases.
look at that. Yeah, because the bill is going
Has
to
the-
increase no matter what, right? Like, you're not going to give up the equity in your property. Obviously, you can't live off of that equity, but it's built in there. So the tax bill has to be a function of what your property is worth.
Well, and it's yes, and residents don't care what the tax rate is. They don't care what the tax shift number is. They don't care what any of those things are. They care what is that bill that gets sent to me, and so that's the number we focus on. And what is that increase year over year, and that's what we try to stabilize year over year, and that's what the policy looks at. Councilor Waterman.
Yes, thank you. So I heard you right, 1.42 is what you're proposing, which would ultimately be an increase on taxes for residents of 4.22% for property. Am I correct? That's what you said?
That's correct.
Can you back up a year? And I'm not, if you don't know it now, I fully understand. Where were we at last year in terms of percentage increase on personal property?
It was a little over 5, wasn't it? Like 5.2,
Something like that.
5.1.
About 5%.
So this is a slight decrease, yeah. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Lavoy.
Thank you. Just a comment. I feel like with everything that comes down through us, if we could just maybe even push the administration to outline that in a nice, clean document, so that we're not relying on like the paper, because it's going to come out wrong in the paper. It's going to look bad in the paper. But I think we need to outline to people at home that this is not an increase. That we're merely, just to outline exactly what you said. Maybe some nice pictures or whatever. But it's frustrating that, in essence, taxes are going down. The levy increase isn't even competing with the equity they're getting. An 8% property value increase, we're talking 4%, 4.4%, so well under an 8% equity increase in terms of a taxation rate, and people are still going to think we're raising taxes, and in theory we're doing the opposite. So something to go out that would kind of outline that for people. Yeah, maybe they won't read it, they'll throw it away, but at least we make an honest attempt to give people some concise, transparent, clean government. Might not be a bad thing. Thank you.
Sounds good. All right. Hearing all that, any other comments? And we'll have the full discussion next week, but, all right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, and back to the beginning. From the docket of October 21st, 2025, I entertain a motion to authorize the school department to pay these previous year's school bills totaling $10,285.71. Blick Dick, $2.15. Bloom H&L, $611. Easter Seals of MA, $4,830. Learn Well, $504. Maxim, $2,097. UMass Medical, $2,241.29. And Oriental Trading, 27 cents.
Second.
Motion's in order. This is paying for previous year's bills. Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Next item is from the docket of October 21st, 2025. I entertain a motion to approve the expenditure of such funds and any future amendments regarding a donation of $5,500 from Thrive Downtown Attleboro to purchase wayfinding signage using the downtown brand.
Second.
Motion's in order. This is a donation for downtown signage. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of October 21st, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve the anticipated receipt of the Mass Cultural Council grant in the amount of $39,500 and approve expending such funds in any future grant amendments in accordance with Chapter 1, Section 12, City Ordinances.
Second.
motion is in order. Again, this is another, was it anticipated grants? There are no matching funds for this, and encourage we approve it. Any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. And that concludes the business for the Finance Committee. I move to adjourn at 7:50.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we are adjourned.
The IT and Infrastructure Committee has no business this evening.
The License Committee's canceled for this evening.
I have City Property and Claims has no business this evening.
I'd like to call the Public Works Committee to order at 7:51. I have four motions this evening from the docket of October 21st, 2025. I entertain a motion to transfer $120,000 from account 6000578380 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for Capital to account 6000587035 Wastewater Enterprise Fund F550 Services Truck or similar to purchase a 2025 F55 dump truck.
Second.
Thank you. I assume we all read the backup and everything. Their old dump truck is no longer useful, can't pass inspection, and so this is a transfer to purchase this dump truck. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of October 21st, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $12,649.09 from account 163010004584040 Recreation Supplies Equipment to account 163010005877073 Recreation Blower to purchase a stand-on hurricane blower.
Second.
Thank you. So this is one of the, I know a lot of you know, but those stand-on massive blowers that blow tons of leaves, and it's gonna make their job a whole lot better and easier, and this is an internal transfer. Does anybody have any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. From the docket of October 21st, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve the request from National Grid and Verizon New England to relocate and replace pole 8155 on Payson Street. No public hearing is required for this.
Second.
So this is just to relocate and replace a pole. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of October 21st, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $2,340.63 from account 6100578300 Water Enterprise Fund Reserve Fund for transfer to account 6100578020 Water Enterprise Fund bills from previous years to pay two fiscal year 2025 invoices from Tata and Howard.
Second.
Thank you. These are just two leftover that we didn't get in time to pay for the last fiscal year. Does anybody have any questions?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. I'd like to call for an adjournment at 7:53.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned, thank you.
I'd like to call Public Safety and Emergency Management Committee to order at 7:53. Myself, Councilor Boyd, and Councilor Angela. From the docket of October 21st, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $187.50 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Fire previous year bills to pay a fiscal year 25 invoice from Island Tech Services.
Second.
Thank you. It's just a previous year bill. Any comments, questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. From the docket of October 21st, 2025, I entertain a motion to transfer $412.76 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Fire previous year's bills to Debbie's Uniform and Supply for fiscal year 24 and fiscal year 25 invoices.
Second.
Thank you. Just to pay those invoices from prior years. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of October 7th, 2025, I entertain a motion to approve the following transfers as well as proposed amendments to the Personnel Rules and Regulation Compensation and Classification Plan. Transfer $1,500 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Police Allowance Clothing to fund the first year of the annual uniform allowance. Transfer $2,500 from account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Fire Salary Stipend to fund the first year of the Deputy Emergency Management Director annual stipend. Transfer $3,000 from the account Citywide Reserve Fund for transfer to account Fire Allowance Clothing to fund the uniform allowances that occurs only in the first year of the contract. Amend section 13-4.1 of the revised ordinance by removing the position of the deputy police chief and deputy fire chief from the compensation plan, and said amendments to take effect upon passage. Amend section 13-6 personnel rules and regulation by adding and following language in bold to Article 1, proposed an application. The rules and regulations set herein thou shall apply to all full-time and part-time employees in grades 0.5 to 15 of the classification plan established under section 13-3 of the revised ordinance of the city of Attleboro, hereinafter referred to as employee except elected officials, the police chief, the fire chief, deputy police chief, deputy fire chief, and employees of the school committee, and shall govern the hours of duty, compensation, and other conditions of employment such as employees. Part-time employees shall include only those employees who work regular scheduled work week of at least 20 hours or more.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. We had the public hearing on this last week. This is to offer the deputy police chief and the deputy fire chief, and I'm sorry, we missed the police chief. We started a little early. I don't know if you guys noticed. He did come in, and we had missed him, and I did speak to him the next day about this. He's in favor of this. I think I had a committee meeting. I went, and then there was only one motion, and then we started early, so he had missed his opportunity to speak at the public hearing. But basically, we had done this for the police chief and the fire chief already, but this is the deputy police chief and the deputy fire chief. There hasn't been any allowance for uniforms. Basically, officers get kind of more than what this position was allowing. So I do think that this is in our favor to do this. It's also an opportunity to give some more flexibility in pay, so it can entice people to want to become the deputy police chief or the deputy fire chief. So it offers that. I spoke to Lynn about it last week as well. So any other questions or comments about that? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. From the docket of September's, okay, yes, we did the public hearing. From the docket of September 2nd, 2025, I entertain a motion to amend the revised ordinance of the city of Attleboro as follows. Strike 9-35.2 in its entirety and replace with the following. 9-35.2 duties of animal control. The animal control officer, under the direct supervision of the police chief and under the general control of the mayor, shall perform the following duties. Everything's, I can read this, basically amend section 9-37.2 by striking superintendent of parks and replacing with police chief. Amend section 9-38.1A by striking superintendent of parks and replacing with the police chief.
Second?
Oh, yep. I can just read each section if you want, but it's very similar. Amend section 9-38.3 by striking superintendent of parks and forestry and replacing with police chief, and striking superintendent of parks and forestry or his or her designee, and replace with the police chief or their designee. Amend section 9-38.5 by striking superintendent of parks and forestry or his or her designee, and replacing with the police chief or their designee. Amend section 9-45.2 by striking superintendent of parks and forestry and replacing with police chief. Amend section 9-45.7 by striking superintendent of parks and forestry or his or her designee and replacing with police chief or the police chief's designee. Amend section 20-11.1 by striking Parks and Forestry Department and replacing with the Attleboro Police Department. Amend section 20-11.3 by striking Superintendent of Parks and Forestry and replacing with Police Chief. Amend section 20-13.1, striking the Parks and Forestry Department and replacing it with the Attleboro Police Department. Amend section 20-13.3 by striking the Superintendent of Parks and Forestry and replacing it with the Police Chief.
I'll withdraw my second, and Councilor Ward.
Second.
Thank you. Thank you. Again, a little bit of my mistake last week, because the police chief did come to speak regarding this, but we did hear from some other members of the administration related to this, and it seems like the calls are getting a little bit more complex, and it may make sense to move this over to the police department, but I'm open to hearing from my committee and just wanted to open up to the full council. Does anybody have any questions? Yep, Councilman.
I mean,
I'm sorry, Councilman.
No, I understand it. It does make sense. We heard from Derek last week, and that'll help him be able to do a lot of other things. And the chief of police does have a little bit more help in that respect to be able to get this done. And so it makes sense for the move. And from what we understand, the chief of police is good with it too as well. So I'm good with it.
Council Point, and then Council Paul.
Thank you. I support it as well. I think it makes much more sense, but just in terms of, if someone's dog was taken, the chief immediately has a social worker right inside the department to kind of help and speak to them on that, or even just the legality of like the constant communication the chief would have with, the attorneys for the city, as opposed to maybe something that Derek might not be privy to right away. I just think it makes far more sense. It's, to me, just clean housekeeping and making everything kind of more sensible and streamlined.
Thank you, Councilman.
Have you spoken to the police chief about this? Is he happy to take over this responsibility? Because there was no testimony to that effect.
I know, that's what I had mentioned. He did come in later.
I saw that as well.
Yes, he's open, and he says that his department is fine taking that on. He wasn't passionate about it, I would say, either way, but he was comfortable with it. But in the sense that Parks and Forestry also spoke and said that they were almost uncomfortable writing it, it does seem to make sense where
Yes.
the police department would be, at least have the flexibility of the report writing and maybe a little bit more aware of what's needed in that. Counselor Brown?
I just wanted to add that many years back in the 90s, might even been the late 80s, it was in the police department. And at one time even, I think it was in the health department. And the health department had issues with it, and the police department really, they're used to handling things that are disagreeable to people, especially the, police chief. And when they have the final word on things, it's just simplified, and they do have access to all of the people that really would have some input into it, more so than somebody that's, at the zoo.
Yep.
In my last thing is, like I said, I do support this. It just as long as, and I'll always continue to support it. I'm a major animal lover, and I think everybody knows that. And just as long as animal control is always consulted in this, we have 3 people down there that are absolutely phenomenal and incredible, and they care about the animals. And just as long as they're always consulted in this, I'll always support it.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. That concludes this business this evening, and I'd like to call for an adjournment.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We adjourned at 8:03. Thank you.
I call Human Resources and Veterans Committee to order at 8:04. All right, from the docket of October 21st, 2025, obtain the appointment of David Wood to fill an expired term of the Contributory Retirement Board, term to expire February 2029.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Tavares. Basically, I did bring David Wood down because he's been in front of the council, and he's on the licensing board, and he's been on the personnel board in years past, and we've heard from Dave, and this is a great spot to put Dave in. Dave comes from the banking industry, and then for the last, I don't know how many years. He's owned his own construction business too as well. He's an upstanding citizen in Attleboro. And he's a very level-headed guy. He's extremely smart and also common sense too as well, which is kind of eludes some people. David is, I know him very well, and when I saw this, I'm like, okay, this is a great spot to put him into. So I appreciate David wanting to do this, and I did talk to Deb Gould too as well, and she was very excited to have David on there and wanted to get David in there as quick as possible because they do have some votes that are going to be coming up, and we're going to be short summoned, and so the quicker we get David in there and get him signed in, we'll be good. Any other questions, Councilor Lavoy?
Thank you, Chair Angelo. As someone that's always been frustrated when people don't come down, this is one that I don't see an issue with. From everything I've heard from people already on the board, they're pretty excited about it, and that they were worried about maybe who would come on given all the stuff coming up, but they seem very favorable, and yeah, I think I'm excited for this one for sure.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, David said he would come on down. I just didn't see the need for it, and that was my decision, and I take full responsibility for that if anybody has any concerns about that. But I had a lot of discussions with David on this and Deb Gould, and it's going to be a great fit. Councilor Waterman and Councilor Tavares.
I have worked with David on another board, and I was so impressed by him that this is an absolute must. This is a great pick.
Absolutely. Councilor Tavares?
I have no concerns, but, and I've not been very vocal about this in the past, but I do think as a matter of practice, I think for transparency and other reasons, I think it is important to bring people down so that they can be seen by the public as well. Again, I have no concerns about this at all, and, looking forward to having David as, part of the board. But I think there is a message that, comes across when we vote people without, bringing them through the council or without any plan to do so. And I know you said you did have plans to do so, but I think that is important.
Well, like I said, I take some responsibility for this. We have had Dave down in front of our council before. He has spoken very well. And the rule of the council, Ben, is if it's someone new that we haven't seen, then we'd bring him down. And if that needs to change on another day, we can have some discussions on if we feel we need to make that change as well, too. And that's all the comments I have. Councilor Tavares?
So with respect, and I'm just going to put this out on the record, this is just my sole opinion. While I think having someone involved in city government in some other capacity in the past is a very good barometer, right, of understanding their skill set or their ability to contribute to a board or commission, I think it does make sense to treat this new every time someone is being appointed to another board or commission. That's just my personal opinion. And I know there's the longstanding, tradition of the council. And like I said earlier, I've not been outspoken on that issue, but I thought maybe now is an appropriate time to at least say that publicly. So I'll support this, but I just wanted to make that opinion known as well.
All right, well, I appreciate it. Duly noted. President Delicio.
Thanks. So, Councilor Tavares, thank you for your comments. I think there's a lot of wisdom in that. And one thing I do want to say is Councilor Angelo and I had the discussion prior to Councilor Angelo taking over this committee. The practice was generally if someone was already on an existing board, they wouldn't have them come down. I think Mike's demonstrated over the last 4 years of doing a good job of bringing everyone down. I think because I agree with what you're saying, I think everyone needs to come down. I think this board has an obligation and opportunity to ask some more pressing questions of people coming in front of us. Some of these boards are really important boards. I think this one's very important, but again, I share the sentiments about David. I've known him a long time as well. But, I think that you bring up some good points. But, it is up to the decision of the chair, and I know that this is one that Mike went back and forth with. Not that, you need me sticking up for you, but I just wanted to let people know that I had the conversation with Mike as well. But you certainly bring up good points.
Oh, thank you, President Delicio. I appreciate that very much. All right. Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. For the docket of October 21st, 2025, entertain a motion to accept regarding generous donation of $250 in market basket gift cards to the public employees, local 1144 to the Veterans Service Office.
Second.
Thank you, Council Tavares. Basically, obviously, this is a generous donation coming from the Veterans Services Office, in market basket gift cards to the, from the public employees local. So we appreciate that from them very much. This is gonna be, great as usual for the Veterans Office, and they will put this to good use right away. Any comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, I call for adjournment at 8:10.
Oh, second. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Councilor Tavares. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We are adjourned at 8:10.
Zoning and Land Use and Sustainability Committee is canceled for this evening.
Transportation and Traffic Committee has no business tonight. We will meet the next appropriate time.
Ordinances, elections, and legislative matters is canceled this evening, as well as the special committee on tax abatement review.
I call for a meeting, special, start over. Special Committee on Classification and Compensation to order at 8:11. Councilors available, Councilor Tavares and Councilor Reynolds. All right, for the docket of September 21st, 2025. Nope, I'm sorry, skip that one. For the docket of August 19th, 2025, I entertain a motion to amend the following sections of the revised ordinance of the City of Attleboro as indicated below. We had a public hearing on 9/16/25, amend section 13-3, classification plan, and 13-4, compensation plan by adding the following positions. Assistant Director of Planning and Development, SATS 4, 82,411 to .92 to 111,255.48 cents. Assistant Director of Budget and Administration, SATS 3, 76,662 and 18 cents to 103,494 and 30 cents. Chief of Staff, DSM 1, 88,332 to 119,110.50. Amend section 2-1.3, assistant to the mayor by striking the entire section, replacing it with the following. 2.1-3, Chief of Staff. Basically, I can, this is hereby established within the Mayor's Department, the position of Chief of Staff. The Mayor shall appoint the Chief of Staff subject to confirm by the Municipal Council. The term of the Chief of Staff shall expire 1 year after the first Tuesday following the first Monday of January in odd-numbered years. Chief of Staff shall possess at least a bachelor's degree in business administration, public relations, public administration, finance, accounting, operations, or a similarly related field, and shall be particularly fitted by education, training, and experience to perform the duties of the office. Chief of Staff shall receive such salary as the Mayor and the Municipal Council shall from time to time determine. Chief of Staff, under the general supervision and control of the Mayor, shall provide assistance to the Mayor as requested in liaison with state, federal, and other municipal officials concerning city business. Confer with the department heads and other officials in assembling data requested by the Mayor and assist in the communication and distribution of such data. Provide assistance to the Mayor as requested in liaison with the Municipal Council and any other boards and commissions associated with the city. Provide assistance to the Mayor as requested in providing government services to the public, addressing citizens' concerns and resolving citizens' complaints. Provide assistance to the Mayor as requested in development of the city policy, goals, and coordinating or directing special projects, oversee the administration and operations of the Office of the Mayor with supervisory responsibility for mayoral administrative staff, and assist with the Mayor in such tasks as may be assigned from time to time.
Second.
Thank you, Councilor Tavares. All right, so this is kind of a lot to unfold. Let me start by saying these are just to have positions in place, just to plan ahead. It is not to be funded. We don't know if it'll ever be funded, any one of these three positions. We heard in the public hearing, we heard from Gary Arazian, we heard from Mason Lord on the budget, and we also heard from Mayor DeSimone on the Chief of Staff. Let's start with, the planning department, we heard from Gary, and, at some point, Gary has got a lot on his plate. We could be missing out on possible grants. We could be missing on a lot of things. Gary, you can see he works incredible hours. He's here very late all the time, and maybe there's some things that we're missing out on some grants and stuff that if he had another assistant in there helping him out, that might be able to get us more money for the city to be able to get more grants in. So I think that's a very important thing. And again, I'll reiterate, and I'll continue to reiterate, these are just to have them on the books, just in case somewhere along the line that it gets funded. It will not be funded. And we'll still have a crack at all these three separately to decide if the mayor decides, okay, I want to fund these. We'll still be able to go and say to everybody, or to say to the administration, no or yes, in whatever we decide. So this is just to have it on the books. So we got the next one is Assistant Director of Budget Administration. We had Mason Lord down here talking as well, too. Mason puts in a lot of hours. We had times when Mason was away for several months. And then when also we had an administration that had left and took our budget and administration with him. And then we had Deb Gould handle that and have to really work crazy hours and double duty, and did an incredible job, but you could only go to that well so many times. And then the chief of staff, we have that one, and admittedly so by the mayor, that is probably one that she would definitely be last, and there would be other things ahead of it, and it's just a matter of having it on the books. I don't think she feels that there's going to be a shot that that's going to get funded anytime soon. But I can tell you this, there's a lot of other cities that have chief of staff. We have Springfield, we have Lowell, we have Brockton, we have Quincy, we have Lynn, we have New Bedford, we have Fall River, we have Haverhill, we have Medford, Taunton, Weymouth, Chicopee, Methuen, Everett. We have Salem, Beverly, Fitchburg, Marlboro. We have others that have executive assistants in Westfield. Then you have Braintree. You have Holyoke. There's Melrose. There is Northampton. There is Agawam. There is Newburyport. There's Greenfield. There's Amesbury. And then there's also East Hampton that has an executive assistant. So, but again, it's not going to be funded. We'll have a crack at that again to come down and say, we want to do this, or no, we don't want to do this. This is planning ahead. I know the mayor has got a lot of moving parts going on, and she is getting help. We already seen certain things that are going to change. There's going to be, at some point, there is going to be some other things coming down that are going to make some of this make some sense. But at the same time, she is just not going to fund this and put the city in a tough position. So right now, this is just to have it on the books, and if something happens, we can react on it quickly in case, say, something Mason gets taken away again, and then we can react a lot quicker. And then if Gary needs something, and when Gary's been around for a long time, and how long is Gary going to be here? So, Councilor Reynolds.
I'm sure that some of these are palatable and some of them are not, but my question is it possible to vote on these individually? So you bring them out.
It didn't come down that way. I don't know.
It didn't, but we have done it in other times where we separate them, and so you'd vote for the Assistant Director of Planning and Development. That would go through. Then you'd vote on the Director of Budget and Administration, see if it goes through, and then you'd vote on the Chief of Staff instead of bringing them all down.
President Delicio?
We can do that if Council Reynolds, who's on your committee, is making an amendment, or we can do that on the floor next week. I can ask for individual votes, but it's really up to how you guys want to do it.
I'm fine with.
I would like to make an amendment to it, but I'll wait till next week and do it then, where we'll have some. Because this is just right.
Yeah, Councilor
right?
Tavares?
I hate to bring this up, but did we already pass this out of committee?
No, I don't.
No, we did not.
Okay.
No, I don't think we did. We didn't vote. We were going, and then we took it back, remember? There
No,
was
I don't.
Yeah, it didn't
So
happen.
I'm not sure.
No,
I actually,
Okay.
I appreciate it, and I was I was literally asking that same question this morning.
Okay.
So I understand completely where you're
No,
coming
we
from.
didn't. We didn't.
Perfect.
We did, then we didn't.
Yeah, okay.
Reneged, yeah. So anyway, I would like to consider that for next week possibly, yeah.
So we'll continue President Delacio voting this out now, and then we'll make that amendment next week?
Sure.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes 3-0. That is, let me just double check to make sure here. That is all for Special Committee on Classification Compensation. I call for a committee meeting at 8:20, and I will learn to speak better next week. Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. We are adjourned at 8:30.
I think it's 8:20.
Oh, is it? Oh, I'm sorry, 8:20, sorry. My apologies.
I'll cancel the special committee to investigate the 2024 water loss.
The Special Committee on Rules and Procedures has no matter before today, but I would like to call for a drafting committee meeting on Monday. That would be October 20th at 5 o'clock to consider how to draft motions to amend the rules and procedures.
Council, point of order, you haven't called your committee to order.
Excuse me, thank you. Let me call my committee to order. Present today is Councilor Holmes and Councilor Cobus. There is, I understand that there's a desire of the council and of the committee to work on rules describing public participation, what is the word? I'm sorry. Remote public participation in public hearings and committees of the whole, and I would like to begin to draft those, the outline of new rules and procedures to affect such remote participation. And I think this will require several committee meetings. I'd like the committee to meet, and I propose that we meet this coming Monday at 5 o'clock. Yes.
I can do Monday, but I'm hoping it could be 7 o'clock.
I can do 7 o'clock, certainly. Fine. Then we will have a committee meeting, 7 o'clock, I propose in the anteroom. That is ours on October 20th. That is the only matter that is before the special committee tonight. With that, I ask that we adjourn the committee at 8:22.
Second.
We are adjourned.
All right.
I think, right?
Done.